right? Perfect for a summer morning, wasn't that? Good morning, and welcome to this service of worship at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tucson. My name is Watercolor Golightly, and I will be your worship associate this morning. I am joined by our minister, Reverend Jamili Omar. And we want to let you know that wherever you are, whenever you join us, whether it's online, now, or later, hi, people watching, we hold dear the sparkle that you bring to our community as an individual. We hold dear the diversity and that special shine in each and every one of our community members. Our community really is striving. We want to be as varied as the blossoms of the Sonoran Desert. We've said it and we said it again. Come one, come all. Whoever you are, wherever you have been, you are welcome. Whoever you are, we welcome you. Whoever you are becoming, we welcome you. Whoever you're today, and if it's somebody different tomorrow, guess what? We welcome you. And we invite you to come here as a whole person, all your parts, bring your whole self today. And we especially want to welcome any new visitors this morning because that's what we do. So if you are new and you're feeling up to it, we invite you to go ahead and raise your hand. We'll warmly welcome you. And we do like to follow the platinum rule here, so we will treat you as you would like to be treated to our best ability. If you do not want to be approached by a welcome committee, that is okay. If you want to be welcomed, we do have a welcome room across the way in the hall after social hour, and you will be thoroughly welcomed. On Sunday mornings only, there is this sanctuary in the social hall, in the parking lot, and our children's classrooms are open and welcoming to all. We have designated a number of other areas that are not open and welcome to all, and they are considered private on Sunday mornings especially. Entry to private spaces is not allowed by law enforcement officers, including ICE, unless they have a signed judicial warrant. If you, for any reason, fear for your safety and want to take advantage of the private spaces, we welcome you to do so. A little housekeeping, just so you know, there are gender-specific bathrooms out these glass doors over here. And there's also an accessible gender-inclusive bathroom right behind AV in that alcove back there. As we worship today, let us remember, always remain mindful of the desert people that came before us to this place, whose lands were stolen in successive acts of displacement and genocide. We take a moment to honor the Otham, the Yaqui, and the Apache. We honor the Hohokam, which means the people that came before. Their names are not known to us, but we take a moment every Sunday to remember, and we hope that this moment lasts, always remembering those that stepped on this land before us. In the spirit of building community, in a minute when I say go, I'm going to invite you to find someone you didn't drive here with. And I want you to share with them a question. Are you ready? The question is, what does the word covenant mean to you? You don't have much time. We do have a schedule to keep to, so go.
So some of us are brand of covenant. Some of us have been around the block, as it were. So I'm curious to hear, in a UU context, what do you think about covenant? Shout it out. I'm going to stand up here. I'll repeat your answers, so you got to talk loud. A holy promise. Or a regular promise. Some kind of a promise. Coming together. Striving for, Adele? A contract? A way to respect other people, Rondi? Ooh, a sacred agreement or a vow. Anybody on this side? A somewhat negative connotation term. Do you want to say more? Oh, Julie. There are covenants in law that are restrictive. We have one person who doesn't like it, has a knee-jerk reaction to it. Anybody else? Knee-jerk negativity? Okay. Kind of. Yeah. Okay. Anybody on this side we haven't gotten to yet? So a covenant is personal rather than law being outside of you. Okay. Okay. Bert? A pledge we make to one another. A pledge, a promise. The kind of relationship we want to have. Personal, legal, or holy. Maura? A shared agreement how we interact with each other. So can we spend today and complexify this a little bit? Here, I know, really? Here at UUCT, we approved a new covenant in 2024. It will appear on our screen. I'm going to read the introduction. Some of our groups have been reading this more frequently, but it starts with 2 paragraphs of introduction, and then we're going to read it together. In a minute, I'm going to invite you, by pointing at you and saying your turn, to read the stuff that's by the star and highlighted. So here's the introductory stuff. Unitarian Universalism is a covenantal community. A covenant includes agreements about how we will treat each other and the values we hold in common. All covenants, including this one, are living documents. Each congregation chooses their own covenant. This is ours. We, the members, friends, and children of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tucson, agree to the following covenant. Here we welcome diversity. Your turn. Here, we recognize the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Your turn.
Together we create a trusting and respectful space where all are heard and honored.
Here, we practice conscious reflection and honesty with empathy. Your turn.
Together we embrace personal growth within ourselves and this community.
Here, we remember that we are capable of causing harm and being harmed. Your turn.
Together we strive to forgive each other and ourselves with loving kindness.
Here, we realize our community is stronger when we participate. Your turn.
Together we work to bring more equity and justice to our church community and the wider world.
Let us promise to journey together in truth and compassion, and let us worship together today. If you are joining online and have a chalice or a candle at home, please light it now as we light ours here with these words by Reverend Carl Seberg. Let there be joy in our coming together this morning. Let there be truth heard in the words we speak and the songs we sing. Let there be help and healing for our disharmony and disrespect. Let there be silence for the voice within us and beyond us. Let there be joy in our coming together.
And Now Let Us Sing. Would you rise as you were able? We're going to sing Now Let Us Sing. It's a hymn that was the first UU hymn I discovered, and I fell kind of in love with it. It's a little wonky if you haven't sung it in a while. It's got two parts to it. I've asked Robert to come sing the lower part. I'm going to sing the part that the words that'll be on the screen. For those of you that don't know it, you'll catch it pretty soon. It only has 3 word changes. We start with faith, then we move to hope, then we go to love. His part's the cool part, so I'm going to let him get closer to the mic. And AV team, just hang on. And can you give us his first note?
So let us sing,
Sing
sing, sing. So let us sing, sing. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Now let us sing to the power of the faith within. Now let us sing, sing. Now let us sing. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Now let us sing to the power of the faith within. Now let us sing. Now let us sing. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Now let us sing to the power of the love within. Now let us sing. Sing. Now let us sing. Sing. Lift up your voice.
Isn't it wonderful how we can talk about something a little bit prickly that people have different ideas about it, and then we can sing a song, and we can all come together, and it's kind of cool. And that's how I think about music, really. Music is the fabric of our universe, and this poem, Music, by Juhan Liv, is it Liv? Liv? Is embracing that. It must be somewhere, the original harmony, somewhere in great nature, hidden. It is in the furious, is it in the furious infinite? In the distant star's orbit? Is it in the sun's scorn? In a tiny flower? In treetop gossip? In heart's music's mother song? Or in tears? It must be somewhere, immortality. Somewhere, the original harmony must be found. How else could it infuse the human soul? That music. Our earth is strong. It can hold our pain, our joy, our love, our anger. Our shared bowl, which we use for joys and sorrows each week, is strong enough to hold the big rocks that Jamili will now add. These big stones That's our collective grief. That is our collective mourning. That is the celebration of our collective joy. That is our music, our harmony. And there are smaller stones around the bowl. There's one in back for those that do not wish on camera, and one up front. And we will invite you in a moment to come up and examine and take a smaller stone to symbolize your own joy and sorrow. We who live in the desert know that water is life-sustaining. It is a scarce resource, and to quote the phrase that should never die, water is life. Let's remember those that are probably walking through our desert and other deserts right now. They are looking for water. We pour the water from the plastic pitcher to symbolize those left in the desert by compassionate people, to serve those that are searching a better life by crossing that desert. They want to find a better life for themselves and their children. On a personal note, the service of music has brought a song to my head. Just a little song, and it's kind of a theme when I always share my little old thing, but I think you probably know it. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Yeah. Now it's gonna sing in your head for the rest of the day. You're welcome. But the song goes on and it says that everywhere, I'm gonna just shine my tiny little light. Everywhere I go, my neighborhood, all the things that I touch, and nobody is gonna blow away my light, because it's light. And no shadows will dim my little glow. And that reminds me of my dearest hope, which is that everyone just does what they can in this world. If we just all shined our little light, then we could see those that needed our help, and those that needed our hugs, and those that were shining too, and we could take care of each other. If you have a joy or sorrow today, I invite you to go to menti.com, and that's for folks at home too, especially. There is a code at menti.com where you can type it in, 58657772 today. Yes. You can add your name, and we will read aloud what you have said, so together we can share and celebrate for those here and not here. If you're here and you really want to share something, Brian Moon is also here if you can't get your phone going. He's got it loaded, locked, and ready for anyone that wants to share something, a joy, a sorrow, a brief thought. Those of you in person, as I said, we're now going to invite you to come down these two aisles, and we can come up two at a time and place a rock to symbolize our individual joys and sorrows now. Those who wish to participate, please come forward.
There's a lot in our world right now, and here's what we have on our mentee. The first one is healing from a broken heart. That's a great metaphor, watercolor. The light's on, but the sound's not coming through. Healing from a broken heart. Friend, we wish you speedy recovery. Joy for modern medical technology that is able to bring pain levels down and that I'm feeling so much better. We think we know who you are, and we are happy for you, friend. Grateful to all those who come and learn songs with me this morning. Thank you from Brian. Me too. What great music we have today. The satisfaction of a finance team working together, Frank. That is a huge win for us. Not always been true. Joy to be amongst a community who embraces our diversity, passions, and gifts. Taking more chances to wear my heart on my sleeve. And we hope you have loving friends to do that with. So please join me in a moment of reflection or prayer with this meditation by Sean Parker Dennison. It's titled How to Survive the Apocalypse, whether they be personal or global apocalypti, apocalypses. I feel like this is good advice for us today. They write, first, learn to listen. Not only for enemies around corners and hidden places, but for the faint footsteps of hope and the whisper of resistance. Hone your skills. Aim your heart towards kindness. Stockpile second chances. Under the weight of destruction, you will need the strong shelter of forgiveness and the deeper wells that give sweet water of welcome. We have a place for you. When the world ends, we must not add destruction to destruction, not accept a beggar's bargain to fight death with more death. In order to survive the apocalypse, any apocalypse at all, we have to give up the counterfeit currency of self-sufficiency, the mistaken addiction to competition, the lie that the last to die has somehow survived.
I'd like to invite you to sink into this next song with me. AV team, just as a heads up, I forgot to tell you, but please leave the first slide up for a few verses. We're going to sing through it a few times, and then we'll go into them successively. Song is Let Out My Wings. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to sing a verse, sing it to you. It's very short. It's a little refrain. And then invite you to sing it responsively to us. And then we'll sing it as intended straight through. The only thing that really changes are the pronouns. And try to hold on to what the changing pronouns make you feel as you sing through this. So listen to me first, and then I'll invite you to sing responsively with me, and then we'll sing it straight through. So we'll stay on this first verse for 3 times through AV team. I'm not just broken, I'm breaking open. The cracks that you see are gonna let out my wings. Now responsively. I'm not just no, the responsively means I sing it and then you sing it back. So I would sing a call and you would sing the response, so it would go like this. I'm not just broken, I'm breaking open. The cracks that you see gonna let out my wings. Now let's just sing it all the way through, now that we've kind of got it. I'm not just broken, I'm breaking open. The cracks that you see are gonna let out my wings. You're not just broken, you're breaking open. The cracks that you see are gonna let out your wings. We're not just broken, we're breaking open. The cracks that you see are gonna let out our wings.
We're going to try this one. No. This is W3. Oh. The light is on, but the sound is not coming. How did it feel to revisit our UUCT shared covenant? For some of us, like I said, we were here to approve it. Some of us, this was brand new. Some of us remember writing it. How did it feel to revisit it? Some of us loved it. Bob, the front row throwing popcorn. Don't remember it? So when we introduce the concept of covenant to folks new to UU, we talk about them, as we talked about earlier, being aspirational, an agreement that leads us to the future of who we could become if only we take the risks needed to do so. If only we take the risks needed to do so. So here's my question for you. Where in our covenant, I'm going to put the words up on the screen again. They'll be really small, so you'll have to either strain or use your good memory. Where is our covenant feel risky? What risks does it ask you to take? Where does our covenant feel risky, and what risks does it ask you to take? Forgiveness. Good Lord, forgiveness. Bert. If we know and care about somebody, we could also cause them harm, even if we don't intend to cause them harm. What else feels risky?
A trusted space where all are heard can be risky.
In what way, Tom? A trusted space where all are heard could be risky.
Well, because you don't know what everybody else is going to say.
Oh, right.
And you got to respect that.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't want to.
And sometimes you don't want to hear what everyone's going to say. How else is this risky? Oh, vulnerability? We have to be vulnerable to each other? Because we can't take risks with each other if we're not honest about what we are and who we are. Any other places this is risky? Right, so this last line, we work to bring equity and justice, is different than just we hope for equity and justice, or we would like equity, and somebody out there should make equity and justice happen, right? Who's that someone? It's us. It's us. I think, too, the practice conscious reflection and honesty with empathy, to me, feels risky, and this is what we were talking about. Highlighter says vulnerability. Right? If I am honest with you that I'm not always right, even though I feel right, but I've reflected and I've changed my mind, right? Conscious reflection and honesty with empathy. Covenants must be risky to be liberatory. Covenants must be risky to liberatory. Otherwise, they only serve to reinforce existing power and relational structures. Here's what I mean. If you've come out of a creedal tradition, you might be familiar with safe covenants, covenants that clearly tell you how to behave and how to believe in order to be accepted in community. God made covenants with his people, a contract that you will be favored if you act in certain specific ways, including loyalty and worship and sacrifice. And many of us, even UUs, have experienced covenants used as a list of rules. Thou shalt not park here is actually a sign in our parking lot. And some of us have a traumatic experience of a covenant being used as a weapon. You're not behaving covenantal usually means you're acting in a way I don't like. Some of us have the deeply damaging experience of being called into the minister's office or some other meeting room to be confronted by what feels like a board of examiners who determine whether your behavior is in right relationship or not. This is a true history of our church. So covenants themselves are not neutral. They have the potential to reinforce existing power structures, and they have the potential to liberate us. Reverend Dan Harper gives us some history of covenant and Unitarianism and Universalism with the critique that historically, covenants have done the former. They have very often been used to shame and blame and keep people in line. He writes that, quote, covenant was central to most Unitarian congregations that began life as Puritan churches in New England. Covenant was also important to some 19th century Unitarian churches that had been founded as New Englanders were moving west. In many 18th century New England congregations, there were these two parallel organizational structures. One was the church and the other was the society. You signed a covenant to join the church. You paid to buy your pew in the society. So who can buy a pew in a society? You know this answer. Who can buy a pew? If you have money and status and power and, say it louder, men. If you are a man, you can own property because buying your pew is buying property. So, oh, and you're white. Well, that goes with buying and owning land, right? We can list all of the things, and it's absolutely true. So in this sense, covenants were used to limit who had access to the society of the church. Statistically, more women signed church covenants and more men owned the property in the church society. Anybody surprised by that statistic? So, Reverend Dan Harper continues, if we're going to put covenant at the center of our religious tradition, at the very least, we need to acknowledge that covenants were a part of theocratic political structure that was rooted in the oppression of the majority of people in our society. And we've named those people, people of African descent, people of Native American descent, women, people that didn't own land, people who are not wealthy. Covenants can do that. And covenants can be liberatory. It's not particularly useful in my mind to argue whether covenants and the use of covenants was deeply historical or only relatively historical, but Dan Harper acknowledges that covenants fell out of favor in Unitarian congregations, and they were never really a thing in Universalist congregations. So how far back our use of covenant goes, it might just be the mid-last century, which feels like a long time to some of us that weren't around for all of us. And we are in a moment of embracing covenant. Wherever it comes from historically, here we are. And in this moment, our covenants are not based on who can afford to buy membership in our churches, but who is invited to come through our doors and who feels welcome to stay when they do arrive. We have learned how to broaden our circle of inclusion year after year, decade after decade, person after person. We are in a moment to acknowledge that historically, covenant was designated to promote theocracy. It was dependent on patriarchy. It was rooted in the enslavement of African and indigenous peoples. It supported British imperialism and colonialism. And they ignored a whole lot of universalist tradition and heritage. That was a part of our heritage that said universal salvation, one heaven for all. So, Reverend Dan says, when we talk about, quote, being in covenant, we have to acknowledge all of this baggage of history. When we accuse others of breaking covenant, we have to start to listen for echoes of the old Puritan practice of public shaming of church members. When we think of covenant as an organizing principle, we have to ask ourselves why we are ignoring the universalist tradition where all are accepted in loving community. And this, in my mind, encapsulates the great work of our age, dismantling oppressive theological, political, and relational power struggles. This is the work of our age, creating a multiracial, multi-religious, multi-generational, multi-ability, free-thinking, beloved community. Covenants, our covenant, can be used either as oppressive or libertary tools in that end. So, liberatory covenants require risk. They invite us to come as we are, but not leave as we always have been. What risks are you willing to take for collective liberation? Are you willing to give up some of what is convenient and easy for you in order to get the whole community free? This beloved community describes how we want, how we hope, how when everyone has had enough sleep and a hot beverage of their choice and maybe just a little bit of chocolate, when we are at our best, which we rarely are, how we relate to each other. That is our covenant. Our covenant then is aspirational, an articulation of our hopes and dreams for the future, which, friends, some days feels impossible. Are we, in fact, ever going to get there? Will I see it in my lifetime? Will my work be for nothing? What if, however, those covenants are both the ends and the means of our collective liberation? If we remember, our working description of collective liberation is that phrase attributed to the Indigenous Australian activist Leela Watson. If you have come here to help me, you are wasting your time. But if you have come because your liberation is bound up with mine, let us work together. What if covenants then are both the place we want to go and the roadmap to get us to collective liberation? They're both. The goal of that multidimensional, inclusive, beautiful world we dream of, and the way to get us there. And for covenants to be liberatory, only exposing power structures isn't enough. They must shift from providing only what I want and need to creating what we need as the community. Covenants that shout, I am part of we, and unless we are all free, I am still in bondage. And this is not only true in congregational life. In organized society, we operate under covenants all the time. And usually we don't notice their agreements about our behavior. We generally call this social contract theory. We all agree to certain things, and they make our society work. At its foundation, any social contract is based on trust. I trust that you will agree to the same social conventions that I do, right? For example, driving. A lot of us drove here this morning. Why does red mean stop and green mean go? Because we all agree to that, right? We're taught that. We learn that over time. And I just learned this week that in England, and those of you that have traveled more broadly know, you can't turn right on red. Blew my mind. I'm like, well, what do you do at a red light then if you're not wait? You wait. You turn left on red. Can't turn right anyways, right? In history, there are many examples of people thinking they had it right, that they could create a society built upon these fair and just covenants, and that people would be free. Unitarians and Universalists have even had quite a few intentional communities. We might hear next week about one from Reverend Matthew from Mountain Vista. Hopedale, Hosea Ballou, some of you will know these names, Fruitland, Brook Farms. They're founded as experiments in utopian living. And I've lived in co-housing, so I know the pitfalls of intentional community. Sometimes they're challenging. So we haven't cracked this nut on the large scale. But on the small scale, quote, it must be somewhere, the original harmony, somewhere in great nature hidden. It must be somewhere immortality, somewhere the original harmony must be found. How else could it infuse the human soul, that music? This poem we read today by Johan Liv, is how I am going to choose to pronounce it, was translated by the Estonian. Liv was born in 1864 in a small little town. Estonia is a country across from Finland, so it's probably pretty cold. As he grew older, his struggles with mental illness began and continued until his death at age 49 in 1913. He died in obscurity and never published a book himself, although his works were recovered in the 1920s, and since he has generally been considered one of Estonia's greatest lyric poets. Now, Estonia has a deep history of education, elitism, we might say. The University of Tartuffe was founded in 1632, 4 years before Harvard, just for a reference. But it has an even longer tradition of folk music, as do most indigenous cultures. Folk music is literally the music of the people, little d, democratic in that everyone owns them, anyone can change them, there is no licensing fees or limits on their usage. They are freely taught and shared. So where is it then? Where does music live? Somewhere in great nature hidden, maybe in our own hearts and voices. And there's a feeling that in Unitarian Universalism, our hymnals represent that ever-growing, ever-changing sense of community. Brian told me this week that we publish more hymnals as UUs than any other denomination over the last 30 years. We have the gray and the teal hymnals, which you're welcome to pick up any time you come to worship, would like one. We also have the purple hymnal, which is our translated, it's mostly the teal hymnal translated into Spanish. But before that hymnal, there was an experiment with the pink hymnal, which I think was a poor color choice. But the challenge with that hymnal, and we have, what is this, D? And we have a Braille hymnal, if that's helpful for you. We have large print words, put our words on the screen, right? The pink hymnal was our first attempt at Spanish translation. It did not go well. And why? Because there was not enough collaboration with native Spanish speakers to translate it well. You've had this experience, you put something into Google Translate and it translates it and it's a bunch of garbage, right? So we have a lot of music to pull from. Music on its own, making music with a group, is an act of liberation, if I might go so far. So here's my question for you, those of you that have participated with music, those of you that make music regularly. In what ways does making music with a group mimic or create on a small scale that liberatory community we want on a larger scale? With a group. Sharing heartbeats. Diverse voices coming together in harmony. Combining artistic elements together. Dee Dee. Mentorship. The training, generation to generation. How else? Robert. Greater than the sum of its parts. Brian. My sounding good requires your sounding good. Our sounding good is more than just one person. Problem solving. It creates an alignment. In what way, Wendy? You're all on beat together, so you're syncing together. On the same page, quite literally. On the same note, hopefully. Rob? Oh, if we want to make harmony, we have to listen to each other. Oh, sharing our souls communally. Thank you, Melody. No? Yep, that was it. How is making music not represent collective liberation? In a group, making music in a group does not represent collective liberation. It's hard to sing everyone's music all the time, so there are people that are going to be left out. Some voices are obviously better than others. It might be out of your vocal range joining in any one song. It is not a democracy. One person's beat, one person's in charge. So, Brian, stop listening. Is Brian a dictator? Some music is elite. Some music is not for the people. It's performative versus participatory. Play it for the king. Say that again?
Communal music requires the scaffolding and basic understanding of where you're at and who you are together. And if you come from a place far away, you don't have that scaffolding to
Oh. Yeah, so if you're outside the folk culture, you're not going to be inside the music. You have to know the rules. So it's a practice, right? It's a practice in liberatory experience.
But music often is like you have to follow rules of the song, but you also get to do a little individual within those rules.
Yep. So there's a sense that music is both follow the rules and break the rules. I just told our sermon writing class this week, part of why we learn sermon writing structures is so we can break those rules, right? So we have that power in music too. There's another way. There was a study in 2000, so this is 26 years old, Claudia Golden and Celia Rouse, and they admit there's some flaws in their study, but they generally point to orchestral auditions more likely to hire women and people with marginalized identities if the people are not seen. So if the audition happens behind a screen, right? So there's a way in which even making music together brings in our biases that come to us out of our society and our community. So how do we do this work, right? How do we go out and practice liberatory freedoms and covenants out in... I would hazard that it isn't by learning more about the state of the world. I would guess you probably don't need to know more about politics or ICE detentions or states of terror in Gaza or the million wars around the world. Imagine you don't need to know more. So let's find some ways to live liberatory covenants and to live the joy. Nobody said music makes joy. It makes us happy, right? Let's go find a way to do that. So here are some options. Come sing with us, right? That's the first one. We start choir rehearsals this Wednesday at 5:30, right here in this room.
We're actually going to be in Goddard. It's a potluck this week, so come even if you don't want to sing. Just come, bring food, eat with us.
And if you don't want to bring food, just come and eat with the choir. They're nice people, I promise. Wednesday at 5:30. We'll also have some pop-up choirs again this year where you come a little bit early before service, learn the music, sing with us. And remember, even if Brian is not Democratic, this is a democratic choir. All voices are welcome. Even if you consider yourself, croaking like a frog, you are welcome to come and sing with us. You could also increase your skills and deepen your relationships. We're offering solidarity summits the first Saturday of September up at Chandler, up at Valley UU. And we're learning skills together. We're meeting UUs from across the states. We're increasing our community. We're learning how to live those liberatory covenants in faith and joy. Spread the good word. Here's a serious question. What's stopping you from bringing somebody you know to church with you? What's stopping you from expanding our community? And this is a hard one. Turn off the news. We all know it's bad out there, and a measure of keeping up with the latest really is important. And when we spend time in that world created by scare tactics and talking heads, when we aren't out in the world doing things we know how to do, then we aren't making art, we aren't baking cakes, we aren't bringing food to our neighbors or even meeting our neighbors. And this is the moment in time to turn to our covenants of care for our communities. Because no one person can do all of this that is required to change the change that's going to need to change. It's going to take all of us. As James Villa Blake wrote way back in 1893, love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth and love, and to help one another. Go and do it, friends.
Will you please rise as you're able to sing We Will Rise Together? This is the third time we've sung this song this year, so even though it's new, I'm going to say that it's not new. So hopefully you'll be able to remember and catch along. Only a word changes each verse. I think you'll follow. Sorry, I missed it. So I missed it. Can you give me the 4 again? Ready? Ready. We will rise together, you and I. Rise together, hand in hand. Come on, we will rise together, heads held high. We will reach the promised land. Come, my friend, I see a brighter day, where freedom brings for everyone. Come along and we will find a way to justice rising like the sun. We will march together, you and I, march together hand in hand. Come on, we will march together, heads held high. We will reach the promised land. Come, my friend, I see a brighter day, where freedom brings for everyone. Come along and we will find a way to justice rising like the sun. Wait for it. Ready? We will sing together, you and I. Sing together hand in hand. Come on, we will sing together, heads held high. We will reach the promised land. Come, my friend, come see a brighter day, where freedom brings for everyone. Come along and we will find a way to justice rising like the sun. Rising like the sun.
There we go. We have been warmed by the fires we did not build. We have drunk at wells we did not dig. And we've been cooled by an HVAC that we will all worked really hard for to get going. So, in acknowledgement of that and of our many, many blessings, We gratefully accept your donations. For those here in person, the ushers will be passing the collection basket. For those watching us from home, you can send a check to our church or give online. uuc.org/donate is where you can find that. As the offering is collected, announcements about upcoming events will be on yonder screen. Thank you.
Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away, for this offering we share with love. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day.
That the offering came up here today, and we want it front and center so that we can remind ourselves of our generosity and that we as worship leaders can remember to thank you. So thank you for this offering.
Good morning. My name's Wendy Gordon Weeks, and I am the president of this incredible congregation. I want to first invite everyone to social hour after the service in Goddard Hall, which is out those doors behind you to your left. There will be coffee, iced tea,